Hey guys, #1 Marmaduke fan here. Remember when your boy Zach used to do Marvel before SJW, and he still mentions Marvel before SJW from time to time and how he's got to do it? Well, I'm stepping up to the plate. I got a whole bunch of True Believers books, and this is Marvel Knights Hellcat, which is a reprint of Avengers number 144. Let's look at the real cover, actually. So the only time I've read Avengers was in the black and white Marvel Essentials days at the library. So for me, this is kind of a trip down memory lane, but I'm actually getting to see these characters in color for the first time, which is kind of weird because sometimes I'd imagine like different colors, or I just imagine them in black and white in my head. And this was just such a great trip. Not just a trip down memory lane. It's not just a nostalgia. There are so many great little pages in this book that are everything I want in modern comics and that I didn't get in modern comics. And what's amazing is this was kind of like par for the course from this era. So this is the introduction of Hellcat, who you may know is the character who Kelly Sue DeConnick put in an Ask Me About My Feminist Agenda t-shirt to annoy the fans. And then Dan Slott, because he's super silly, he put Peter Parker in an Ask Me About My Feminist Agenda shirt. Because what is funnier than repeating the joke the customers didn't like the first time? Am I right? But with this, there's a lot of stuff I just forgot about these characters. So I'll get into that. But pretty much for the whole first part of the story, Patsy Walker is kind of a liability. The Vision suspects that she might be a traitor because her incompetence keeps getting the Avengers in trouble. And this is a really fast-paced setup. It's almost like sort of comedically fast-paced, how fast the transition happens to her becoming the Hellcat. Now, I just want to call attention to the artists, George Perez, Mike Esposito, kind of the standard Marvel style of the time with a little Kirby influence and like the big, detailed, crazy rooms and everything. And Steve Englehart just kind of captures that, punchy, fast-paced, fun talking to the readers, which I noticed in those Golden Age comic books with Batman and the Riddler. It was sort of like in this era, they still had the punchy narrator kind of saying, hey kids, let's go for an adventure. But they kind of like knew to, more economy of language, be punchier with the language, be funnier, and then kind of get like the long paragraphs down to a few punchy boxes. But they still have the narrator saying, look out world, the Avengers are on the I love this. I want the narrator to come back. So what's amazing about this comic is just how much stuff happens. So like they flash us back, they kind of catch us up to how they're infiltrating the Brand Corporation and they're evil weapons manufacturers, and there's some evil super dudes from another time. And then Iron Man has like this whole character moment where he wonders if he's more than just the powers the suit gives him, and he realizes actually no, I'm the man underneath the suit, which is great stuff. But it's all fast. It was kind of interesting seeing it's interesting seeing Iron Man before Robert Downey Jr.'s interpretation of the character now, because he's not like quippy, but he still has that. What I like, actually, one of the things I actually like about the MCU is they captured that idea of Tony struggling with, is he just the suit or is he the man underneath the suit? So, a little character moment and then back to crazy adventure. They're falling. This is where a regular modern issue would end, probably. And we're what? 3 pages in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're all falling, and they got to catch each other and stop themselves from falling. And then Captain America bounces off his shield, and Iron Man catches it. And the narrator makes it fun. A roar of jets, a rush of wind, Avengers teamwork pays off again. It's like being a carnival barker. The carnival barker gets you excited for all of the crazy, the bearded lady, here she is, everybody, can you believe it? The carnival barker's role is to get you excited for the weird thing before the weird thing happens. And that's great. Beast, I think he's pretty recently been turned into the Blue Beast based on some of his dialogue, but he used to work for the Brand Corporation. They've got this great gag where this little old couple sees all the craziness going on next door and they call the police, and then the writer jokes that that's the last time we'll ever see, Ben and Phyllis Green forever. So Patsy Walker, I didn't know this about her. She apparently had this whole history before being Hellcat, and help me out, True Believers. So she has her flashback and says Pat's Perky print by Alice Hartley, NYC. I'm guessing that means that Alice Hartley actually worked on the old Patsy Walker comics. Am I right? That's just my guess, but I'm too much of a fake geek guy to know. But what's clear is that Patsy Walker used to be like this sort of teenage romance character where she was a pretty girl, she'd get into hijinks, and then she talks about how she's always idolized superheroes. Look at that, a good Christian marriage. And they're like pointing you to other comics to go look for and annuals to go look for. And then I want to go look for those comics because I'm actually into this comic and I want to know more about the characters. This was the old Marvel formula. But then there's kind of like a tragic turn where her husband is kind of a pathetic guy. He has anger issues and they break up. And so she's got this sort of romantic idea that she wants to be a superhero and no clear plan about how to get there. So there's like this speedy transition where they just say, well, what if you put on the suit? She puts on the suit, and then the narrator kind of sells you on, oh, this is so epic, she's become a superhero. Now there's no I don't know if there's anything about the suit that actually, yeah, the suit is supposed to give you some special powers, I think. So this is a transformation story. She's been a liability for the whole first part of the issue. They don't have a tragic death or anything, kind of like what motivates Peter Parker. But the idea is that once she gets the opportunity, kind of like her years of studying superheroes, she's like Deku in My Hero Academia. Her years of studying superheroes have kind of given her enough, I don't know, understanding of the basics of how it works so that if she puts on the super suit, she can actually hold her own. Now, I freaking love this page. This page is everything that needs to come back to comics. So they flash sideways to a different adventure with some other members of the Avengers. They catch you up on their whole adventure, so go check out last issue, gang, if you want to see Thor and Hawkeye fighting evil cowboys in the past. And then they're going to bring this new character into the future, and Hawkeye says, I'm leaving the Avengers again. So this is a one-page summary of a previous issue, encouraging you to go check out that issue. It's a setup of the next issue. They're going to bring the cowboy, and Thor and Hawkeye are going to come back to the future, and we know what the drama is going to be. Is Hawkeye going to leave the Avengers in one page? And then they go back to the regular adventure. Yes, so much is happening. So much stuff is happening. And then the bad superheroes show up and they're going to fight, and then they're getting teleported to another world where they're going to finish the fight. This is so dope. Excellent. All right, so, yeah, you should absolutely support the Marvel True Believers line. I just want to reread the old Avengers comics again from the beginning, probably. But what's nice about True Believers is it kind of gives you a greatest hits and gives you some nice, introductions to, not the introduction to Patsy Walker, but the introduction to her as Hellcat. I even thought it was interesting where they showed, the whole backstory to the costume before Patsy Walker wore it. For so many of these characters, someone else wore the suit for a while and they transformed her into a tiger girl, right? This was the house of ideas. They're constantly coming up with characters. They're constantly doing things with those characters. Then they're changing those characters up, but then they got this cool costume. So, hey, let's take the costume and give it to some other girl, and she can be the new cat. She'll be the Hellcat, and it'll be different, right? It's creativity based on, let's come up with all the stuff we possibly can. It's not creativity based on committee. Let's give her X, Y, and Z traits to get the New York Times write-up without actually having her traits mean anything consistent for the character. I want to go check out this version of the cat. What the heck? I am 100% a old comic book guy. From this point on, I was never the best roaster of the YouTube roasters. I'm tired of the new comics. Maybe once in a while I'll dip in if someone says there's something really good. But this channel is Marvel before SJW. You failed us, Zach. You kept saying you were going to make Marvel before SJW. I take on the mantle. With that, I'm #1 Marmaduke fan. I love you guys. There was a whole tangent. There was a Michael Bendis comic I'll review. That's the opposite of this, because the whole thing is a setup to Daredevil fighting one little mook, and the super bad guy doesn't even show up in the comic. Look how much happened in this comic. This is great. So, #1 Marmaduke fan, I love you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Click the bell to make sure you get notifications. Make sure you're still subscribed in case the evil Google overlords delete your subscription. Check the description. I have a Subscribestar. It's better than Patreon. I love my subscribers on Subscribestar. I love the Super Chat donators. I love you guys. And I will catch you later. Peace.